Wanted to take a look at Leonidas ARKONA's pronation lift. Now, I know that a lot of people have been giving him quite a hard time about his technique, but in the end, I don't think it's really all that bad. Now, looking at this, we see that his arm angle is extremely open, and of course this maybe isn't quite as impressive or quite the same lift as someone who does it and they keep their arm angle very closed, but I think that Leonidas isn't really training for that move. I think he's intentionally training for what he's trying to do in a match, and that is the open top roll. Leonidas isn't really trying to be the guy that stays really tight and hits offensively and uses a lot of side pressure, but he's intentionally sweeping outside in his matches and allowing his arm angle to open up and giving away his shoulder on purpose. This is exactly what we saw him do against Schoolboy, and the lift that he's doing here, I think, does a really good job of mimicking that. The most important angle to me in this lift is the forearm angle in relation to the ground. As long as this is pretty close to parallel, that means that Leonidas's arm and his pronator are withstanding pretty much the entirety of this weight. And we see that as he lifts this, there are a couple things that happen. His pronator slightly gets turned over just a little bit, but that's not too much of a problem if it doesn't get fully turned over. And of course his arm angle does open, but really this arm angle looks pretty similar to the arm angle Leonidas often has when he's in his matches. So maybe this lift wouldn't be great for someone who's more offensive when they're top rolling, but for someone like Leonidas, I think this is a good lift. And at the end of the day, this weight is attacking what he wants it to attack, and 75 kilograms is 75 kilograms. Something that's very important is it doesn't really matter how ugly you look in a match. If you're applying 75 kilograms of up pressure in pronation, then you're applying 75 kilograms of up pressure and pronation. It doesn't really matter how you achieve that pressure or what you look like, or if you look very far outside of orthodoxy, your opponent is still going to have to contain that insane amount of pressure, even if you are under the table and even if you do have a snorkel. And of course, the last thing is that his wrist is slightly cupped in instead of kicked back like Devin does. I do think that this makes a little bit of a difference, but it's not that big of a deal. Overall, I think this 75 kilo lift by Leonidas is pretty insane. I honestly did not think he would be anywhere near capable of a lift like this. This really surprised me when he lifted this, and also made me more impressed with how close Schoolboy was to defeating him. So let me know what you guys think about this lift. I don't think it's quite perfect necessarily, but I still think it's extremely impressive, and it's really not that far off from someone's technique like Devin Larratt. Not perfect, but close enough for lifting 75 kilos.